Real quick, just a reminder to check out my movie channel. The link is in the description. I have videos on there about the new Alex Garland movie, Civil War. I have a Dune 2 review. I have, some tier list of guys like Christopher Nolan and David Fincher, and Alex Garland tier list is coming up. So be on the lookout for all that. Again, link is in the description, but back to your regularly scheduled video. Super Bowl 51 is perhaps the most famous game ever played. It's certainly up there, and at least in the modern NFL era, is probably the most famous game. I mean, they made a movie about it, basically. But in a game that has so many memorable moments, there's also so many incredible forgotten moments as well, and I wanted to go back and talk about them all. This is revisiting the 28-3 game, starting off with this opening drive for New England. We're just past the 30-second mark into the game, and they're already at a 3rd down and 1. And it's important to remember with Atlanta, a good comparison could be Detroit from this past year, of a team that, loaded offense, and then their defense would make some mistakes, but also could make some splash plays. That's kind of what they relied on. And as you see early on in this game, that's what they would do. They get this 3rd down and 1 stop, and again, in today's NFL, on a 4th and 1, even at your own 35, you're considering going for it. Here, there was no consideration. No team would go for it that deep in your own territory, so then Atlanta gets the football. However, a kind of forgotten play early on, this one. So it's going to be a 3rd down and 4. You're going to see Matt Ryan. He's about to take a sack right here. But what's really interesting about this, I think, is this is actually going to be a fumble that was returned for a touchdown, except it wasn't. It was ruled down by contact. So, and it was the correct call. He was down. But just kind of an interesting moment, as who knows how that changes the game if New England starts off with a touchdown. But Atlanta would punt the ball back to the Patriots, another 3rd down and 1 situation, not running the ball this time as it didn't work last time. They're going to throw it, and Tom Brady is going to hit James White, who picks up a 1st down. This was something that we, put a pin in that. Tom Brady looking towards James White in key moments, but essentially what was happening was guys weren't getting open down the field, and Brady had to keep looking towards his halfback. Like going over here, you notice New England has driven the ball at this point. They're in Atlanta's 40, and if they can gain a few more yards, they could at least be in field goal range. Brady is looking down the field. However, he doesn't love what he sees, holds on to the ball for a bit too long. Kind of not a great sack there to take by Brady as well. That pushes them out of field goal range. Brady actually gets sacked later on in that drive as well. They aren't able to get a field goal and have to punt the ball back to Atlanta. Atlanta gave the ball right back to New England. And again, you see New England would drive down the field again. You see they hand the ball off right here. Okay, pretty good situation. It's going to be a 2nd down and 7 or so inside field goal range, and well inside field goal range. However, the ball gets ripped out, and Atlanta is able to recover. Again, Atlanta getting the big plays that they need defensively to, hopefully allow their offense to finally start get going, as it's now a scoreless 1st quarter, but it would not remain that way for long. You're going to see Matt Ryan really start feeding Julio Jones here, which is never a bad strategy. Julio makes a great catch there. Going to make another really good catch down the field on this one to get them down the field. And it finally ends with a Devonta Freeman touchdown rush. And just like that, Atlanta leads 7-0. You knew the Falcons offense was going to get going eventually. New England got a couple stops, but here, being able to get guys open consistently down the field was really effective, and really the one guy being Julio Jones. Now let's go back to the Patriots and go back to Tom Brady here, where again, Brady is going to be looking down the field, and again, doesn't love what he sees down the field. So what's he going to do? Well, halfback James White is open here, and again, keep in mind, this is a 3rd down and 7. You don't want to go 3 and out right after you give up a touchdown. So, looking towards White, kind of Brady's best option. However, when Brady flips it to James White, there's a quick tackle. They aren't able to pick up the 1st down, and once again have to give the ball back to New England. That's what Atlanta was doing, was they were just winning consistently down the field. And on both sides of the ball, as once again, Julio Jones is going to make a really athletic catch to get them, down the field, and then it would actually be Austin Hooper who would win down the field. Atlanta gets another touchdown. So, hey, if you can win down the field on both sides of the ball, it's going to be really tough to be beat. But New England just finds themselves down 14 at this point, and plenty of time left. They have some time at the end of the half to try and score some points. And once again, they get a nice drive going. New England was not struggling to move the ball in this first half at all. They get another drive near field goal range, this time inside field goal range. It's a 3rd down and 6 though, and let's be honest, down 14, you don't want to just get a field goal, especially because you're giving Atlanta another drive. In this scenario, they could potentially get points of their own to counter what you get, so you really do want to convert here. Brady takes the snap, he looks down the field, and right here you see Amendola, and you can kind of see why Brady likes this throw. Is worth mentioning he's under pressure, so that's kind of forcing his hand a little bit. However, Robert Alford is reading this play from the jump. He knows what route is coming. He sees the concept, kind of a rub route here that New England is doing, and he is just jumping it. Not only does he get the pick, but he gets it cleanly, which brings us to the only guy who really has a chance to make a tackle is Tom Brady. And let's just be honest, Tom Brady, he wasn't quite 45 here, but he's still an older quarterback at this point trying to make a play. You see him kind of lunge out, is not able to make it happen, and Alford really kind of eventually starts walking towards the end zone, so I can't show the whole thing or I'll get copyright claimed, but gets the pick 6, and just like that, New England finds themselves in a massive hole down 21-0. So going over here, we're just past the 2-minute warning, and this is kind of a really scary situation for the Patriots, and they want to just get some points on the board. You don't want to let this opportunity go to waste. Yes, it's a 21-point game, that's very tough, but 2 minutes left. If you're gonna come back and win this game, you almost need to take advantage here. It starts off pretty precarious with Brady getting hit as he's thrown, but the pass is still somehow caught, and they pick up a decent gain on that one. That would also bring us to this next play, where you see once again Brady looking down the field, but once again he's not gonna love what he sees. So that's where James White, who is again such a key piece of this, comes in. And as long as James White is open here, really. However, when Brady throws in that direction, him and White have that chemistry to look at how White's able to stop on a dime the second Brady is throwing. He reads it, but not only is he going to do that, White also makes a move and is going to run down the field and picks up a ton of yards after the catch and gets them in field goal range, which they would go on to kick a field goal. Then we'd see Lady Gaga jump off of the ceiling of the, jump into the stadium. So, halftime, all that craziness going on. But when the game would resume, New England's feeling a little bit good about themselves. I mean, yes, you're down 21-3, but you've been moving the ball effectively. You just scored points. And they start, as you see, they're going to start the half off with a 3-and-out. So New England gets the ball here, really good opportunity to try and make something happen. However, on this 3rd down and 12, when Brady looks down the field, the pass is dropped. Julian Edelman drops the pass actually, and that's kind of a devastating blow, as they had a real opportunity. If he makes that catch, they're getting the 1st down, and they're probably going to get close to field goal range. Once again, it's not necessarily New England can't make anything work, it's more so that Atlanta is making the plays and New England just isn't. Atlanta would take advantage of the New England miscue by, throwing the ball down the field with Gabriel, way open down the field, and then we have another halfback pass. This time it's Tevin Coleman getting into the end zone for a touchdown, and just like that, it is the score that will always be remembered: 28-3 Atlanta. New England's next drive, they're in desperation mode. Down 25 with 6 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. You essentially need some points here. Quite frankly, you probably need a touchdown here. It's a 3rd down and 3. Again, they've driven the ball a little bit at this point. You see Brady is going to flip the ball to Edelman, but wait, Edelman is, it was a backwards pass. Edelman is looking to throw, and they've obviously done this in the past. Edelman, a guy who was drafted as a quarterback and then transitioned to wide receiver. You see he's going to look down the field. He fires down the field, and quite frankly, it nearly worked. It wasn't a bad pass, but not able to convert on the 3rd and 3. And in previous situations, you were seeing Belichick kind of frustratedly having to punt. But here he kind of says, you know what, now is time to, put the pedal to the metal here. And while I think most coaches would do this in today's NFL, at the time, this still was a decision, so you got to give Belichick credit for going for it here. So now the ball is in Brady's hands. He takes the snap. He is looking down the field, and it's one-on-one matchups across the board. He has to pick which matchup he likes best. Who's going to be his guy here? Brady chooses Danny Amendola, and Danny Amendola delivers with a huge catch, and you do have to wonder, if that is incomplete, Atlanta now has good field position, like already up 28-3. It feels pretty over at this point. It feels like the Patriots, quite frankly, have no margin for error. However, again, when Brady takes a snap, this is now a 3rd down and 8, and while they could kick a long field goal, and I guess that would still help you a little, you want a touchdown here, but Brady looking down the field just doesn't love what he sees. And this is where, I mean, you always talk about Brady. What's his best asset? It's obviously his legs, right? Watch Brady get outside the pocket due to a stunt that didn't really work for Atlanta, and he's able to rush, he slides, he picks up a 1st down and then some on a key 3rd down and 8 situation. So hey, Brady not known for being a runner, but he made it happen, and just, again, finding a way to get the ball down the field however you can. Later on in the drive, Brady would eventually hit James White, and it wasn't easy, and it took some key plays, but they were able to get the ball into the end zone finally, which you felt like they were eventually going to do, right? They were moving the ball so well, they were going to get something to work. But for Atlanta, you're okay. The Patriots actually missed the extra point here, so it's still 28-9. If you're Atlanta, you just got to keep scoring. That's all you have to do. But now let's go here, because this is an interesting little wrinkle that happened. So with still 2 minutes left in the 3rd quarter and what's currently a 19-point game, Bill Belichick is taking a risk here. He's going for the onside kick. And I'm assuming part of the logic is they just felt like they had to steal a possession, and right now Atlanta wasn't really ready for an onside kick. They were kind of expecting this to be sort of a fake, so trying to catch them off guard. I understand it. And as you see, the surprise onside kick nearly works, and had it worked, you do wonder, like, again, is that one of the most famous onside kick recoveries of all time? Well, did not happen, and now Atlanta is in a great position to try and make something happen. However, on 2nd and 11, we would have this play where it looked like Austin Hooper had to grab, but the ball got knocked out, does not get them in field goal range. On the 3rd and 11, Matt Ryan ends up getting sacked, and New England able to get a clutch stop in this spot, as if the Falcons just got like 7 yards or so, they could have again gotten a field goal, which would have made things easier for them. At this point, the Patriots were relatively locked in. You see Brady get the ball to James White, and who makes a move, picks up a 1st down. I'm going to pause it right here, as this was kind of the key situation in this drive. Once again, move the ball down the field, but in a 3rd down and goal situation, again, you want the touchdown. You're down 19. So if you kick a field goal, yes, it is technically now a 2-score game, but you need 2 touchdowns and 2 2-point conversions. That's a difficult position to find yourself in. And if you can get, hopefully 8 on this drive, you'd feel way better about it. However, when Brady takes the snap, he again doesn't love what he sees. Pressure comes really quickly, and he gets sacked right there. He is not able to pick up the, touchdown on this one. And the Patriots kind of say, you know what? We're at the 15-yard line. That's too far. Belichick's going to settle for 3, and while New England kind of stays alive here, going to the next Falcons drive, they feel pretty good about themselves. 3rd down and 1 situation, though, and you can't have another 3 and out. You don't want the other 3 and out. But Kyle Shanahan, who, taken a long time before bringing him up in this, video, who obviously had a huge, his fingerprints were all over this game. He is not someone to play it safe. He is someone who's going to try and take a chance. And I'm assuming his mindset here, currently up 16 points, is, hey, if we can get a couple more, if we can get, 3 more points here, that essentially ices the game. So they're going to try and push the ball down the field here. But that brings us to Dont'a Hightower, one of the all-time playoff performers. Where would the Patriots have been in those 3 Super Bowls that they won with him had he not been there? I actually remember making a video after they beat the Rams most recently saying he should have been a Super Bowl MVP in that game, but this is maybe his most famous play. Devonta Freeman is going to be blocking him, and unfortunately for Devonta Freeman, who's had a great game and had a great career, this is probably the play that Freeman's most known for. Watch Freeman really just not even come close to blocking Hightower. He just didn't pick it up. He didn't have his head up quick enough. So give credit to Hightower, though, for getting there so quickly. Here's the other thing. You can't see it on the screen right here. The angle doesn't show it, but there's a receiver about to get wide open down the field, and it's where Matt Ryan is looking. Make no mistake about it, if Freeman makes this block, Matt Ryan pushes the ball down the field, and the Falcons get a touchdown on this play. That's legitimately how big of a missed block this was. And Freeman doesn't just make the tackle, but he knocks the football out. New England recovers, and just like that, it went from hanging on by a thread to feeling very possible New England could make something happen. They still had to not beat themselves offensively, though. They still had to make sure they didn't make any mistakes. And on a 3rd down and 11, quite frankly, this is essentially a 2nd down and 11, right? You know they would have gone for it on 4th down had they had to, but they don't want to go for it on a 4th down. They want to convert here. Again, Tom Brady's so locked in here. You're going to see this beautifully timed throw, gets it there quickly, good catch. They're able to convert. A couple plays later, they were able to get into the end zone for a touchdown. But that brings us to here, the 2-point conversion, which the way the Patriots offense was going, it kind of almost just felt like the only way the Falcons were going to win is either they ice the game offensively, or maybe the defense can just get a 2-point attempt stop, right? Because, you know, that's tough. Having to go 2 for 2 in 2-point attempts is difficult. But to talk about this play, we actually have to go back to a completely different game. It was this situation. The New England Patriots are going up against the Denver Broncos in the 2015 Conference Championship game. This was just a year prior, where, if you remember, that Broncos defense was great all game. Brady was running for his life all game, but down 8 points, he gets a great drive going to put themselves down just 2 points after the touchdown, needing a 2-point conversion to tie the game with 12 seconds left. This play, though, was kind of a bit of a mess, honestly. Brady started running back the second he took the snap. No one really got open. The ball gets batted up and then intercepted, and that was all she wrote. Patriots lose the game. Broncos go on to win the Super Bowl that year. The Patriots, after this, made a clear effort to work on 2-point attempts. Make sure that they were ready for a situation like this in the future. So going over here, they're not just running any play. They have very specific plays for this situation. Watch as when Brady takes the snap. Wait, Brady doesn't take the snap. You have a just direct snap to James White. And you look at those Atlanta players over the middle, they're frozen for a second. They don't know exactly what's happening. And just that little second is all they needed. As you see, when White does run through the middle, he's able to power forward and he's able to get the first 2-point attempt in a game that seemed like it was over. It is now just an 8-point game. But Atlanta is far from dead. Going over to their next drive, where they actually had poor field position, which is honestly kind of an underrated aspect of all of this. But, you know, either way, they're in a situation where 6 minutes left, 1st down and 10. They're trying to see if they can get a drive going. Again, get 3 points, the game's basically over. Matt Ryan is going to flip the ball to Freeman, taking a page out of Brady's book, going to the halfback, and Freeman already has picked up a ton of yards, but this is where Freeman's, strength is really going to come through. Watch him make a move in open space, and he gets all the way to midfield on that play. I mean, that's a huge play in this game to give them a chance. Of course, it was not the most well-known play on this drive. We got to go here, which this could, many people have considered this the all-time forgotten play in NFL history, as it could have been a game to ice a Super Bowl. Ultimately, we know how it went, but here is the play. Matt Ryan takes the snap. There's a blitz, so there's pressure. But, I never thought Matt Ryan got enough credit for this. I mean, you see him moving. He's, throwing the ball while running at a kind of a sprint forward. This is a really awkward way to try and make a throw down the field. But this is a beautiful throw and one of the greatest catches in this under the circumstances you will ever see. The sideline angle is the one that really will wow you. I mean, just the way he's able to bobble it but control it and then get both feet in bounds, get them in field goal range. I mean, all you got to do now is run the ball 3 times, kick a field goal, go up 11, and win the Super Bowl, right? That's all you got to do. Well, that brings us to here. So they did run the ball on the first play and lost a yard because New England was ready for a rush. New England was kind of daring the Falcons to try and throw the ball. They're trying to push Atlanta out of field goal range, because it is worth mentioning, listen, 4 minutes left, the Patriots have 3 timeouts. It's not actually over. If you kick a field goal, you just feel really good about yourselves, right? New England could potentially get 2 drives going. As I said earlier, Shanahan, not usually the kind of guy to just say, we'll play this one safe. He's going to force the issue, and in fairness, the strength of this team was throwing the football, so you can kind of understand the logic. I think people have often looked at things and said, hey, your percentage chance of winning if you just ran the ball and then kicked the field goal was 99%, and yet what you did cost you the game, so clearly you made the wrong call. It's worth mentioning their percentage chance of winning if they throw the ball here was also like 99%. Like, the odds of them winning at this point were incredibly high either way. New England was going to have to make a miracle happen, and this is where the strength of Bill Belichick comes in. He's going to run a stunt here, which is actually a pretty ballsy call, because usually this leaves you open in the run game, but he's, again, taking a risk here, trying to see if he can get the Falcons to, push them back, get a sack here. That's what he's going for. And as you see, that's what happens. They do get someone straight towards Matt Ryan, and for Matt Ryan, I think it's kind of fair to say, maybe don't try to get out of this. Maybe it's just throw the ball away at this point. That's probably one of the, I think a lot of times Matt Ryan gets criticism for this game just because he was the quarterback on the other team. I think most of the stuff was out of his control. Right here, though, you could argue, like, hey, the one thing you can't do is take a sack. You got to know in this situation, if there's immediate pressure, where you can throw the ball away to. Instead, he does take the sack, but it's worth mentioning they're now at like the 35-yard line. This is not a great situation, but you can kick a 52-yard field goal. That is not the end of the world. And on a 3rd and 23, you have a decision to make. This is the play, and again, you could decide to run it and kick a long field goal, but I understand the logic. What are the odds of back-to-back sacks happening? And in fairness to Kyle Shanahan and to the Falcons here, Matt Ryan recovers nicely. He's going to hit Mohamed Sanu, Patriots legend Mohamed Sanu, who gets the ball to the 25-yard line. Okay, well done. You're back into field goal range, except there was admittedly a pretty weak holding penalty on this one that forced the play to go back. So now it's 3rd and 33. They went from a guaranteed field goal to now you really have to get some yards. Now it's no question you're throwing the football here. And this time, the New England Patriots defense holds strong. They're not able to get open down the field. Gabriel doesn't make the play. And finally, the Patriots are able to get the stop right here. It's the Patriots defense making the big plays to make up for giving up yards. And it's the Falcons beating themselves. But this is an underrated play in this whole sequence, in this whole end situation. It's a 3rd down and 10 at their own 9-yard line, which kind of an interesting fun fact is that the longest drive the Patriots had all season was 91 yards. So now they're going to have to tie that if they want to potentially tie the game. But on a 3rd and 10, I kind of wonder if the Patriots don't convert here, do they punt the ball away? I think they might, actually, because they have 2 timeouts. There's 3 minutes left. And if you don't convert on a 4th down, well, then you're definitely screwed. You're not pushing them out of field goal range when they're starting to drive at the 9. However, you're going to see Brady doesn't even make that an issue when he fires it down the field. It's Chris Hogan, who makes the play. You would then see, again, at this point, Brady's just locked in, makes another throw further down the field. Brings us to this play, which is probably the most famous Patriots play of this whole situation. Julian Edelman, who didn't have a bad game up until this point, but definitely wasn't having one of his iconic postseason games up until this point. But this play would certainly change that. Watch as when Tom Brady takes the snap, he's going to fire down the field, and to be honest, this was nearly Robert Alford's 2nd interception of the game, which could have made him an ultimate hero. I mean, imagine getting a pick 6 and then the game-sealing interception. Again, it wouldn't have been over necessarily. The Patriots have 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning, but even so, even if they get to 3 and out, they didn't have 2 minutes with no timeouts needing a 8-point touchdown. You're feeling pretty good about yourself if you can get this interception. However, he can't quite finish it off, and Edelman somehow, some way, is able to make the grab before it touches the ground. I mean, that's just, unbelievable. And somehow the ref also called it correctly on the field. One of the all-time great ref calls you'll ever see, to notice that was, in fact, the catch. Again, at this point, the Patriots are able to get guys not necessarily open way down the field, but honestly down the field as well. The Falcons defense just gassed at this point, and Brady's always putting the ball in the right spot. James White's making great stuff happen. Eventually rushes in for a touchdown, which brings us to the other 2-point attempt, which, again, this final drive, once the Julian Edelman catch happened, you really felt like if you're rooting for Atlanta, just get the 2-point attempt stop. You're probably not going to stop them 4 times in a row, but can you stop them once in a row? Maybe. Well, one issue is that an Atlanta player actually jumped off sides, so you're now giving New England multiple opportunities anyway, so that's not ideal. but as you see, it's a wide receiver screen pass to Amendola. Again, a designed play for the 2-point attempt. They convert. The flag was on Atlanta, as I mentioned, and just like that, it's a tie game. But it's a tie game. It's not over, and quite frankly, I think about another somewhat famous Tom Brady comeback, the 27-3 game against the Rams. The Buccaneers came back to tie that game 27-27, but the Rams were able to, with a little bit of time left before time expired, get a field goal drive going and didn't allow the game to go to overtime. Well, the Falcons have a similar opportunity. Now, they let some time go off the clock on this 3rd and 6, so when I had more time, they kind of didn't do a great job up until this point, but hey, a big play, and maybe you can make something happen. Matt Ryan instead, though, fires this one towards the sideline. This was actually initially ruled an interception and then got overturned, which helped out the Patriots for it to not be an interception. But either way, was not a big deal. We're going to go to overtime, right? You see the Patriots are in position to go for a kneel down. Here's a weird thing that the Patriots did. Watch them with this, essentially a fake kneel down. Brady's going to run. I'm going to pause it right here. Looks like they're kind of trying to fake Atlanta out by moving towards the top of the screen and then rush towards the bottom of the screen. Honestly, not a horrible idea. You're going to see Dion Lewis is the one who actually has the ball. He's going to run, eventually decides to go out of bounds, and it looks like he got hurt. So he injured himself in that situation. So kind of an unfortunate way for that play to go out. Worth a shot, I suppose, for Bill Belichick, but does not work. We are going to overtime where the all-important coin toss would happen. And let's be honest, we all kind of hate the fact that this comes down to such an important part of it's such an important game. In part came down to a coin toss, right? And while I think that most people kind of have the mindset, and even I kind of have the mindset of like, well, given the way this game was going, probably was not going to end well for Atlanta either way, it still feels like you would have liked to see, the MVP of the regular season, Matt Ryan, get another chance. But, the Patriots call heads.
It is heads. New England has won the toss. Elected to receive.
And then in overtime, I mean, it just felt inevitable. Brady making perfect throw after perfect throw. Patriots players getting open just enough. They don't need huge windows. They just need big enough windows. Not really too many peculiar positions for the Patriots to be in. As even James White making a key play. He's doing his thing. But there was one play. This play was kind of the thing. So it was just after a pass interference to get them inside the 5-yard line. They're at the 2-yard line at this point. The Patriots are throwing the ball here, which is kind of funny because it's only 2 years after the controversy of, why didn't the Seahawks run the ball? Well, again, Patriots have Tom Brady. The Seahawks had Marshawn Lynch. It's not a one-for-one comparison, but still, Brady is going to take the snap. He, runs this play action, flips it up, and quite frankly, this is not a great situation. A one-on-one matchup. Here's why it's not a terrible situation. Vic Beasley is the guy who's trying to make this play for Atlanta. Vic Beasley's an edge rusher. He is not someone who's playing coverage too often. That being said, for Atlanta, listen, the one thing we kept saying that whole run for New England was, okay, you're probably not going to beat them 4 plays in a row. Can you beat them once, though? They need a big play, but this Falcons defense, part of why they're here was they were able to make key big plays, and part of why they went up 28-3 in the first place was because they can make key big plays. If Beasley can get this interception, get a touchback here, now all Atlanta needs is a field goal to win the Super Bowl. However, he can't quite make it happen, and it was a tough play, but that brings us to, this one where Brady's going to flip the ball to White. The Patriots aren't making the same mistake, and it doesn't look like it's about to go too well. And if they don't convert here, it's a 3rd down and goal, meaning the Falcons would just need one more play, and the Patriots would probably settle for a field goal, giving Atlanta one more chance. However, this tackle is going to slip through Atlanta's fingers, just kind of like the game did. A great metaphor for the game, and Patriots go crazy as the Patriots win the Super Bowl in one of the more iconic games ever played. So yeah, kind of fun to go back and revisit, break down exactly what happened, all the big moments. There were some forgotten moments, some things I hadn't thought of, and just some, that we all remember, but it's still interesting going through kind of in the context of the game, how everything went, and kind of how quickly it all happened in that 4th quarter for Atlanta. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this game. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.